The young and the restless spoilers. Tracy had been absent from the storyline for far too long, a shadowed figure in the background of the unfolding drama. But now, rumors swirl around the idea that she's on her way to Nice. The whispers grow louder as news spreads that she's not traveling alone. Jill will accompany her. But what Tracy's role in all of this truly is, remains unknown. It's not just a visit. No, Tracy is coming with a purpose, and it's far deeper than anyone could have imagined. Jill, the woman who seems to have it all, has been underestimating her own emotional stakes. While it's true that Jill has always been a force to be reckoned with in the business world, few know the truth about her past. She has always been fiercely independent, maintaining her composure even in the most difficult of situations, but the truth is far more complicated. Behind her sharp business acumen lies a personal tragedy she's never fully acknowledged. Her failed family, the child she lost so long ago. For years, Jill has buried the pain of losing her daughter. The scars left by that loss have festered in the corners of her heart, and she's kept the truth hidden from everyone. Few realize how much of her strength comes from a place of deep personal grief. Jill has refused to let herself be vulnerable, too proud to admit the one thing she truly longs for, to find the daughter she lost. But now, when she hears the news that a detective has tracked down her long-lost daughter, everything changes. Without hesitation, Jill boards a flight to Nice, eager to reunite with the daughter she's thought about every single day. She knows that this reunion is the key to healing a wound that has never fully closed. The emotions are overwhelming, and she can't hold back the tears. As the plane touches down, Jill is filled with a mixture of nervous anticipation and uncontainable excitement. She can finally hold her daughter in her arms. After all this time, after so many years of pain, the moment is finally here. But Tracy's arrival in Nice is not as simple as a mother's reunion with her child. As much as Jill yearns for the embrace of her daughter, Tracy has her own reasons for being there, reasons that will complicate everything. While Jill is focused on the upcoming reunion, Tracy moves quietly in the background, carrying out her own investigation. It's not just about finding her daughter for the sake of reunion. Tracy has been on a different mission, one that involves unearthing the past and revealing the hidden truths she's long been seeking. In a quiet, secretive move, Tracy takes a sample of Audra's DNA, a careful and calculated action. No one knows she's done it. She doesn't want to alert anyone to the fact that she's looking for answers. The sample is sent for testing, and Tracy waits in agonizing silence. The results come back, and they are nothing short of shocking. The detective's leads were correct. Audra is Tracy's daughter. The revelation hits Tracy like a wave, sweeping her up in a flood of emotions. She can hardly believe it, but the truth is undeniable. Audra, the woman she's been searching for, the woman whose identity was hidden in layers of secrets, is finally within reach. Tracy's heart swells with a mixture of joy, disbelief, and a profound sadness for the years they've lost. But there's one thing that stands out as even more heartbreaking. Audra has no idea who her real mother is. For years, she's lived her life in the shadows of uncertainty, unaware of her true lineage. She has always longed for something more, for a sense of belonging, for the maternal love she never knew. She's been searching for a connection, for someone to hold her, to give her the answers that have always eluded her. And now, as the truth finally emerges, it's clear. Audra has always wanted to be held by the very person she never knew she had, her mother. But Tracy and Jill are not the only ones with secrets. As the pieces of the puzzle come together, it becomes clear that this revelation will send shockwaves through the lives of everyone involved. Tracy's role in Audra's life has always been hidden, a part of a dark, unspoken past that has remained buried for far too long. The truth of their connection will not just change their lives. It will alter the course of everyone they've ever known. Audra's fate has been sealed by secrets that have shaped her into the person she is today. But what will happen when the truth is finally exposed? Will she be able to accept the mother who has spent so many years in the shadows? And how will Jill, now confronted with a mother-daughter bond she didn't know existed, react? The questions continue to swirl as everyone prepares for the fallout that is sure to come. As the story unravels, the tension builds. The reunion between mother and daughter, so long in the making, will not be without its challenges. Old wounds will be reopened, and new alliances will be tested. But one thing is certain, the truth has come to light, and there is no going back. Tracy and Jill's lives will never be the same again. The secret of Audra's identity has shifted the ground beneath their feet, and now they must navigate a world where the past can no longer be ignored. For Jill, the joy of reunion is tempered by the shocking revelations that lie ahead. For Tracy, this is the moment she's waited for, but it is not without its own cost. The question remains, will the bond between mother and daughter be enough to overcome the years of separation and pain, or will the truths they now face tear them apart? The answers lie just beyond the horizon, waiting to be uncovered. Tracy's heart had been pounding in her chest for weeks now. The uncertainty, the waiting, the yearning, it had all come to a head in this moment. The detective's phone call had been the spark that lit the fire of her determination. She couldn't wait any longer, couldn't stay hidden in the shadows of the past. She had waited for so long, but now the truth was within reach. The plan had been in motion for days. She had arranged everything with care, every detail meticulously thought out, even down to the flight that would bring her to Nice. Tracy knew this wasn't just any reunion, it was a chance to finally reclaim what had been lost, to reunite with the child she had been forced to leave behind all those years ago. The agony of separation had never truly left her. Every day, she had carried the weight of that loss, hidden behind the masks of daily life, but now it was time. She stepped off the plane, her feet barely touching the ground before her mind started to race again. The excitement of seeing her daughter, of finally holding her in her arms, was tempered by a deep unease. How would Audra react? Would the years of separation be too much to overcome? Was this truly the beginning of something beautiful, or was she walking into a world of more complications, more secrets, and more darkness than she was prepared for? As she entered the airport, she looked around, trying to find the familiar face she had waited for so long to see. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister was at play, something deeper than the joy of a mother and daughter reunited. Something in the air told her that the truth of the past was never as simple as it seemed. Tracy had known all along that there would be repercussions, that this reunion wouldn't come without its share of challenges. But she hadn't anticipated just how complicated everything would become. Her mind flashed back to the years of searching, the endless efforts to find Audra, to know what had happened to her child. It had been a difficult journey, one filled with dead ends and false hope, but she had never stopped looking. The detective, however, had finally delivered the breakthrough, the DNA test results that had confirmed what Tracy had always suspected. Audra was alive, and now Tracy had the chance to find her. But just as she was about to walk through the airport gates, she noticed someone waiting for her, Jill. Jill, who had been a part of her life for so long, but who had never known the full truth about her daughter. Tracy had always kept that part of her life hidden, not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear that revealing her past would only complicate things further. But now, as she stood face to face with Jill, she knew there was no avoiding it any longer. "Tracy," Jill said, her voice soft yet filled with concern. "Are you sure about this?" Tracy nodded slowly, her eyes fixed on the ground as she processed the question. "I have to know, Jill. I've waited long enough. I can't keep hiding from it." Jill placed a hand on her friend's shoulder, offering silent support. "Then we'll face it together." The two women walked through the bustling streets of Nice, their minds heavy with the weight of what was to come. It wasn't just the reunion that had Tracy on edge, it was the idea of what else could be waiting for them. How would Audra react to the revelation that she was Tracy's daughter? How would the truth about her past impact the life she had built? As they arrived at the location the detective had specified, Tracy's heart began to race. This was it. The moment she had dreamed about for so long. She could feel the excitement, but it was tempered by fear. What if Audra didn't want to meet her? What if the past was too much to overcome? Tracy turned to Jill, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you think she'll be angry with me? Jill's eyes softened with understanding. She may be angry, but she'll also be confused, scared. Give her time, Tracy. This isn't something she'll be able to process all at once. They stood outside the door for a moment, gathering their thoughts. Finally, Tracy pushed open the door, stepping into the room where her daughter waited. Audra stood there, her back to them, as if sensing their arrival. The air was thick with anticipation. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Audra, her body rigid, turned slowly to face them, her expression one of shock and disbelief. Tracy's breath caught in her throat. The woman standing before her wasn't the child she remembered, but there was something familiar in her eyes. Something that connected them, even after all these years. Without a word, Tracy moved toward Audra, her arms outstretched. She didn't need to say anything. The embrace spoke volumes. Audra stood frozen for a long moment, as if unsure of what to do, before she allowed herself to be held. Tracy's heart ached as she held Audra in her arms, feeling the years of separation melt away. But as the embrace lingered, the weight of the moment pressed down on her. This wasn't just a reunion, it was the beginning of a new chapter. One that Tracy wasn't sure she was ready to write. She pulled away slightly, her hands shaking as she reached into her pocket and pulled out the envelope. She handed it to Audra, her voice barely audible. This is the truth. You're my daughter. Audra took the paper from her mother's hands, her eyes scanning the words as her heart raced. The DNA test results were right there, in black and white, undeniable proof that the woman before her was the one who had given birth to her. She looked up at Tracy, her mind reeling. This wasn't a dream, it was reality. But it felt like something too surreal to comprehend. Tracy could see the confusion, the disbelief in Audra's eyes. She could feel the tension in the air, the weight of everything that had led them to this moment. I'm sorry, Tracy whispered, tears welling in her eyes. I should have found you sooner. And then, something shifted. Audra's breath caught as the first tear slid down her cheek. She had always wondered what it would feel like to be held by her real mother, to finally feel the love she had longed for her entire life. Now, she could feel that love, raw and overwhelming. The confusion, the years of uncertainty, it all melted away. For the first time, Audra allowed herself to believe that this was real. That Tracy was her mother. That she had finally found the missing piece of her soul. But as the tears continued to fall, so did the questions. What had kept them apart for so long? What secrets did Tracy carry that had kept her from finding her daughter? And what dangers lay ahead as the truth began to unravel? The bond between mother and daughter had been forged, but it was fragile. The past was never as simple as it seemed, and the weight of that truth would shape the future in ways neither of them could foresee. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, the questions began to swirl in their minds. The future was uncertain, but in that moment, they both knew one thing for sure, they had found each other. And together, they would face whatever came next, no matter how dark the path might seem. But the past wasn't done with them yet. The revelations had just begun, and the secrets of the years they had lost would soon catch up with them. The truth had been revealed, but the cost was still to be paid. And as they stood there, holding on to each other, the storm that was about to hit them both had only just begun.